I'm Emma O'Brien. I'm a transformational life and business coach, and I help stuck people get unstuck. In this video, I'm going to share with you 6 ways that you can help to reduce the impact of your stress response as it turns up in your life and business. So I had a very interesting experience last week on a very short aeroplane ride. I was sat next to a nervous flyer. So I got to see firsthand what somebody else's stress response looks like when it's in action. And this poor lady was really quite agitated. So she spent quite a lot of time reading the instruction book, tapping on the window to make sure it was properly affixed, wanting to open and close the blind. She got a book out of her bag, tried to read, put it back. She couldn't sit still. She tried to have a sleep but couldn't sleep. She eventually resorted to getting a Bible out of her bag, at which point I knew it was probably bad if you're reading a Bible on a plane, in this, because you're in a state of panic. And I felt really sorry for her. And a stress response is one of those things that once it really takes off, pun intended, it's difficult to get back and get a handle on it until it has properly dissipated. There's only a lot of us actually sit in a low-level stress response most of the time, unfortunately. But when it really, really kind of peaks, when there's a very stressful situation we're in, it can't stay like that forever. But it is horrible sitting in that, in either a fight, flight, or a freeze response. So this poor woman was on an aeroplane, literally in a flight response. And let's talk about what happens physiologically when your nervous system is activated and you get into that fight, flight, or freeze response. So our emotional center in our brain, which is your amygdala, is our very kind of reptilian bit of our brain that used to be in charge of, are we about to be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger? Threat assessment, and let's take some action to get out of that. Unfortunately, because of the way a lot of us live our lives now, we're constantly in a fight or flight response. We're constantly feeling like we're under some sort of threat. So this is why stress and anxiety is just on the rise all the time, because of the way we live. One of the things I'm very passionate about is helping people calm that and actually get out of that kind of stressful hamster wheel situation that a lot of us live in. It's horrible. So what happens when your amygdala is activated and this fight, flight, or freeze response kicks in is literally that takes over everything. So this is why when people are stressed, they're often snappy, they're reactive. It's why when you're stressed, you can't think straight, because you literally can't think straight. So once your amygdala has fully activated its stress response, it literally gets hold of the logical part of your brain, straps a gag across its face, ties it up, and shuts it in a cupboard and locks the door. So this is why you can't actually think logically. So this is why when you're stressed, you shout at your partner, you snap at your kids, because actually the logic bit that would go, is it actually their fault? No, it's not. Something that happened at work is not your husband's fault, but yet he's the one who gets the brunt of it because you're in that stress response. So that is the bad news about a stress response, is that once the amygdala train has left the station and you are on board, you have to ride it out. However, the good news is, and what I'm going to share with you today, is that if you can start to recognize when your nervous system has been activated and you are getting into a fight, flight, or freeze response, you can start to stop it before it really takes hold. So, how do we go about doing that? Here are 6 ways that you can start to really get control of that stress response so your life isn't dictated to by being reactive to situations that make you panic. So the first one is to start to notice when your nervous system is activated and start to understand what it feels like when something has happened that's triggered you and you start to get into the one of the 3 F's response. Just start to notice what's going on. So you can understand when it comes up again, I think my stress response has just been activated. Let me see what I can do to calm it down. So the first thing is to notice it. The second thing is to feel whereabouts in your body that stress response is activated. Where do you feel it? Because you might find that you can somatically start to sense into when it's coming really before you intellectually notice it's happening. The third thing is, when you do notice it start, is to slow and calm your breathing down. Slowing and calming your breathing will calm that stress response down. You cannot breathe slowly and deeply and be horribly stressed at the same time. Not possible. If you need a little bit of help, I have a really great free 5-minute stress reset breathing exercise. Just pop stress reset in the comments below and I will send it to you. I'll also add a link in the video description as well, depending on where you're watching this. But slowing your breathing down, it's so simple, but yet it's often something we don't really remember or think to do. The fourth thing is, wherever possible, remove yourself from the stressful situation. So whatever you can do to break that state. So our poor lady on the aeroplane couldn't really do very much when she was strapped into the seat next to me. However, when we started conversing, I could see that she visibly calmed down because her mind was concentrating on talking to me, not concentrating on the panic that was whirring around. So do something to shift yourself out of the situation. It might be getting up and going for a walk. It might be literally just telling the people, if it's a situation that involves other people, saying to them, I just need a minute before I can respond to this. It's okay to ask for that rather than have a full tilt response that you didn't really think through, reaction. The fifth thing is to practice mindfulness in some shape or form every day. So I like to meditate every day. I find it really, really useful. Meditation's great for training your brain to calm down. And it's something that works over the long run. Meditating one time won't calm you down, but meditating for 10 minutes a day for a month, you'll see a big difference. So it's one of these daily practices. You might practice mindfulness by going for a walk where you stay very present. You might listen to some music. There's lots of things you can do in terms of a mindfulness practice, but whatever you can do to bring yourself into the present moment is really, really helpful to help to reduce the impact of stress and your stress response on your life. And the last thing is to sleep properly. When you are well rested, you will be able to cope far better with the stressful situations that life inevitably throws at us. Sleep is such an underrated tool for helping you to feel better. I think a lot of people walk around having not slept enough. I find personally, if I've not had a good night's sleep, it makes me more anxious. I am more reactive. I don't think very clearly. It impacts me hugely. So that's really a big piece to have a look at, is how you're sleeping and how you could sleep better. Because when you are well rested, your logical brain has got far more sway over your amygdala. So I hope this has been really helpful for you. This is something I'm very passionate about. It's a journey I've been on of managing my own anxiety, of reducing my own stress levels, and just trying to live more calmly and not in this state of reactiveness all the time, because A, it feels horrible, and B, it's bad for you. So I invite you, if this is something that's relatable to you and stress is something that you struggle with, please do go and try out my 5-minute stress reset. Like I said, the link is in the video notes, or you can pop me a message and I will happily send it to you. All right. I hope this has been good. Please do subscribe to the channel. I share content here on YouTube weekly. And if you are watching somewhere else on Facebook or socials, please do follow my page and make sure you're notified for when new videos come out. I will see you soon.